We've come to the country music capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to try some fried chicken, dip our toes into the city's music culture, and you will never guess what we found in Centennial Park. Oh my god, look at that. And don't worry, Taylor Swift fans, I will also be doing a Taylor Swift tour on the side. Guys, we have made it to the Legends Corner here in Broadway, Nashville, and it's part of my Taylor Swift tour. Where is she? Huh? Where is she? Now you might be wondering why, because Taylor's not actually on this mural, but she used to be. And they got rid of her because a lot of people were like, Taylor Swift isn't country anymore, which fair enough, she's not, but she was. And I'm pretty sure she won a Grammy for a country album, so just because someone's not something they used to be doesn't mean that they were never it. I'm obviously a little bit pissed off about the whole situation, but I have a cool fun fact for you. They replaced her with Brad Paisley. And while she might have been replaced, she does live on in this mural, because if you look closely, you will see a little bit of Taylor's hair still there. And look, it's better than nothing, but in my opinion, she should be front and center of this mural because she is the greatest pop star of all time. Yes, I said pop star, but she started off country and she deserves a spot on this mural. Now, if you are coming to Nashville, walking along Broadway is an absolute must. Broadway seems to be a long, colourful street filled with bars and pubs playing live music, a lot of shops selling classic country boots, and the occasional fried chicken restaurants. It's definitely a must-visit spot here in Nashville. Now, what's considered a must-do activity here in Nashville is listening to live music, and it's not a hard thing to do at all because it's just gone 10 a.m. here and they're already playing live music here on Broadway. So I don't think it's going to be hard for us to catch a live show or two. In terms of getting around Nashville, from the airport we caught a bus to our accommodation and it cost a grand total of $2 between the two of us. Now, the way to do it is through an app called Quick Ticket, and then you just kind of scan a QR code on your phone. The only problem we had was that it wouldn't accept our credit card, and that turned out to be because of our address, but once we changed our address to the Nashville address that we're currently staying in, no issues. So if you're coming to Nashville, I would say that public transport is definitely a very doable option. We caught the bus into Broadway today, and again, it was $1 each for 2 hours of transport, so not bad at all.
Now, we had a bit of up and down weather in Orlando. We had some really hot days, some cold days, but Nashville is definitely testing us. It's quite a bit of a change. It's about 1 degree at the moment, 1 degree Celsius to clarify. So we've whipped out all our winter gear, and by all our winter gear, we don't have a lot because we're traveling carry-on only, packing for all seasons, but it's quite brisk today, but we're coping all right so far.
Can you let me know down in the comments if you have experience with cold temperatures to what we're used to? You know, we're from Melbourne, Australia. It gets cold, but doesn't get this cold. What do you do to keep your nose warm? Like, do nose beanies exist? I know you can get a balaclava, but like, that's a last resort. My nose is frozen.
You'll never guess the places that I've been.
We are now making our way to probably the top tourist attraction here in Nashville, and that is the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. Now, neither Rosh and I are big into country music, but from everything we've read, it's absolutely a must-do whether you're into country music or not. It's got one of the biggest collections of country music artifacts in the entire world, and so we're pretty excited to go in and educate ourselves a bit more on the history of country music, and particularly here in Nashville, Tennessee. So
my country music is limited to early Taylor Swift days, and I think that is perfection.
Well, I've heard there are some Taylor Swift artifacts in the museum. There used to be an Eras Tour exhibition, but I think that's closed now, unfortunately, but hopefully there'll be a few bits and pieces.
We'll put a link in the description below for where you can buy tickets to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. We do get a little bit of a kickback from that if you do use that link, so thank you, but it comes at no extra cost to you. But for now, let's go inside and check it out.
Okay, you're not allowed to film inside the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. However, we took lots of photos. It was such a cool experience, especially for two people who know nothing about country music. Essentially takes you through the history of country music, starting obviously well in the past and working up to the current state of country music and who some of the key figures in country music are at the moment. So much memorabilia. There was a car of Elvis Presley, obviously lots of guitars and banjos and things like that. There were clothes of different country music figures like Taylor Swift, Dolly Parton, Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, heaps of people like that, heaps of men as well, and heaps of people from the past that we hadn't quite heard of until we ventured inside. So it was super cool to see all that. There's also some rooms that show some film from the past all the way up to the 2000s as well, which is really, really cool. Great experience and the perfect way to start our time here in Nashville, get us up to speed on the history of music here in the country music capital of the world.
And one of my favourite parts of that museum was getting to witness Stace in the recording studio. Now, if you enjoy being able to hear and not wanting to throw up, I'd put us on mute right now.
The first time saying this is it, I've had enough, cause like we hadn't seen each other in a month when you said you needed space. What?
So sorry about that.
To defend myself, I've been sick. That's the only reason I sound like that.
The reason there is no footage of me is because it was so bad, the film just disintegrated.
We've now come directly across the road from the Country Music Hall of Fame, and we're here at the Music City Walk of Fame, where there are stars in the ground for many country music stars, and I've heard that there are even some non-country music stars here, so we're gonna have a browse. Perfect thing is it's a free activity. The museum wasn't too expensive for a museum, but it's nice to wander across here and just have a browse as well. We've now come here to the Goo Goo Chocolate Company here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's considered to be the first ever combination chocolate, I think, in the world. So the first time multiple candies were combined together. It is home of the original Goo Goo Cluster. As it says, it's been here since 1912, so we've definitely got to try some. We've picked up the original Goo Goo Cluster, which is peanuts, caramel, nougat and chocolate. And we also got one of the specialty ones, which I won't lie guys, it broke the bank a little bit, but it looked too good to resist. But it is the white chocolate premium Goo Goo. Looks pretty good to me. You can actually build and design your own Goo Goo and then go watch them make it, which is pretty cool as well. I think it's about $15, so a bit pricey, but definitely a cool experience if you're not on a budget.
And as well as being able to design your own Goo Goo, on select days you can come and join a class and learn how to make a Goo Goo hands-on, which I think would be so much fun. And when we come back to Nashville, hopefully one day, that's what we're going to be doing. Guys, when researching what kind of foods you should eat when in Nashville, two main things came up: fried chicken and diners. So we have come to Sun Diner here, right next to Broadway in Nashville, to get ourselves some lunch and hopefully a pretty authentic diner experience.
Guys, this place is so cool. It has like communal, like U-shaped tables. The server comes up in the middle, serves everyone. There is country music memorabilia all over the walls, country music playing, and we were called y'all, so we're really in Nashville now.
This is definitely the first time that I've been to a diner and it's actually felt like a real life diner.
I of course had to get some fried chicken, so I've got some chicken tenders and some interesting looking fries, but it's a massive serving. I'm so excited to dig in. That was amazing. My fried chicken tasted like KFC but better, which if you don't like KFC you're not going to like it, but it was amazing. I felt like I really got an authentic fried chicken experience here in Nashville. The diner was super cool on the inside. As Rosh said, we've never been to a diner that actually felt like a proper diner, and that was super cool and definitely a must-do experience here in Nashville.
Guys, the sheer size of some of these bars and pubs is blowing us away. We just walked past one that was, no joke, 4 stories high. It's very impressive. I should say as well that something else that popped up when I was searching what food to eat in Nashville was something called Meat and 3. So I did a bit of digging because I didn't know what the heck that meant. But I think it's you choose a meat and then you choose 3 sides, and the sides might be vegetables, rice, mac and cheese, that type of thing. I'm not sure if we'll get it while we're here because our days are running out and Stace has actually been sick for the last few days, but we'll see what we can find. Guys, we're only a few hours into really exploring Nashville, and we've both kind of just discussed that Nashville definitely has a different vibe to anywhere else we've been. It's really cool and we're definitely liking it so far. The live music at 10 o'clock in the morning, who couldn't like that? It's just a real country friendly vibe, and if you're thinking about coming to Nashville, I would definitely recommend it. Something I've noticed here in Nashville is that when you're at a pedestrian crossing and then it goes green for you to cross, it makes a bird noise. I just think that's so unique. I don't know if Nashville's known for having a lot of different types of birds, but how cool is that?
We are now back at our accommodation here in Nashville, and we just wanted to pop onto the camera because it's time to try the infamous Goo Goo Cluster.
It's Goo Goo time.
So we've got the original Goo Goo Cluster, and we've got our very expensive premium Goo Goo. White Christmas.
A festive version.
This one did cost double what we thought it did, so it better be bloody delicious. There were actually these premium ones, so many delicious sounding flavours, it was very hard to pick. But we thought we had to get the original. I think the original was $7 for 3. And this is just one giant Goo Goo cluster. So let's try the original.
The packaging is so cute. So the original is peanut, caramel and nougat covered in milk chocolate, which I've never really heard of. I don't think we have anything like that at home. Closest thing I can think of would be a picnic.
Honey log.
This is the first candy bar I've ever seen that comes with instructions on how to eat it. It says how to enjoy, tear open, place in mouth, chew carefully.
Oh jeez. Oh my god, this one smells so good.
Was it worth the amount you paid?
Absolutely.
And this is a Goo Goo.
It tastes like a fancy Snickers.
I can totally see how that would have just like changed the world that people lived in.
So I think this one has like, it's dark chocolate peppermint ganache, crushed Oreo cookies and vanilla nougat in white chocolate with a crushed peppermint base.
That's a great Christmas present. If we were going home soon, I'd think that'd be a really good Christmas present. Without a doubt, if you're coming to Nashville, you have to go and get yourself a Goo Goo.
This one. Trust me.
Welcome to a new day here in Nashville, everybody. We have come to the city's most famous park here in Midtown, Centennial Park, and it's famous for a number of reasons, but this one is probably the best one, apart from some of my Taylor Swift reasons. You are never going to guess what sits in the middle of this park. It is a full-scale Parthenon.
So Centennial Park was built as part of the Tennessee Centennial, so celebrating 100 years in 1897, and that's when the full-scale replica of the Parthenon was built as well. And the reason this was built, which might seem very odd to have this Greek structure replica here in the middle of a park here in Nashville, was because Nashville had a reputation of being called the Athens of the South. And the reason for that is it's known for having a lot of colleges and universities here in the city, which seems appropriate because I'm literally staring right now at Vanderbilt University, literally right across the road. So definitely a lot of universities here in Nashville, and that is why the Parthenon is sitting here in Centennial Park. And it also now is a bit of an art museum on the inside, and I think there's a replica model of the statue of Athena as well.
What? It feels like yesterday that we were standing in front of the real Parthenon. Of course, it was much hotter, 40 degrees to be exact. We were dying, but it was a really cool monument to see. And if you'd like to see our video of that day, we'll put the link right up there.
Now, something you absolutely cannot do with the real Parthenon is climb on up. It's so cool to like grasp the actual full scale of the Parthenon, because when you see the actual Parthenon in Athens, you obviously can't stand like this, so yeah, it definitely looks huge, but standing next to these pillars just like really helps you appreciate how massive it is.
Of course, the Parthenon in Athens, the OG Parthenon as I like to call it, isn't complete anymore. It's falling apart, and in fact when we were there this year they were doing some maintenance, so a lot of it was kind of blocked by construction. But as they said, when you really get to come up close to the fake Parthenon, you really appreciate just how big it is. I feel like I should be in like Greek robes. Greek robes? Is that what you call them?
Did you see that coming?
Now, Centennial Park is also part of our Taylor Swift tour. For all of you Swifties
Can I
out.
clarify, not our, Rosh's Taylor Swift tour. I'm just along for the ride, lucky me.
For all of you Swifties out there, the name Centennial Park might ring a bell, and that is because in Taylor Swift's song Invisible String, she says this.
Green was the color of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park.
At Centennial Park! So I am at a park that Taylor Swift used to sit in, and I feel pretty good about it. I do. Whilst right now there's no green grass around to be found, I suppose that changes with the seasons, and it's still nice to come to a spot where she obviously used to sit and maybe inspired a song or two. But because Centennial Park is a bit of a T-Swift spot, there's actually a bench around here somewhere with a plaque on it dedicated to Taylor. So we are currently on the hunt for that bench. Aren't you so excited about that?
Currently on the hunt for that bench.
Well guys, if the Parthenon's not a good enough reason for you to come to Centennial Park, I think that this definitely is. You never know who you might bump into. Oh, it's not Taylor. Damn. But you never know. She could come one day. And I know that I said this before, that there wasn't very much green grass around Centennial Park right now, but there is a section in front of the bench that's like obviously very well cared for. Good grass? Bad grass. Green is the colour of the grass where I read at Centennial Park. Even through winter right now, because it's like a pretty perfect patch of grass right in front of the plaque that says a bench for you to read on at Centennial Park. And that is of course because the lyrics are green is the colour of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park. And this patch of grass I think will always be green, so Taylor can always come back and read on this bench. Now I will be here waiting for her. Not in a creepy way, I just really respect you, Taylor. Thanks for watching. You've got prime Taylor Swift spotting bench position. And if Taylor Swift's bench is too busy from all the Swifties, which, let's be real, probably happens a lot, there are these really cool swings that you can come and sit on too. So this is definitely a park I would recommend hitting up if you are coming to Nashville.
It's super peaceful as well, and I'm sure that's largely in part by the fact that it is winter and not summer. But today it's just so quiet. These benches are all really spread out. It's just really pretty, even though, you know, like Rosh said, the grass, it's not super green everywhere because it is winter. It's just got a really pretty vibe to it. I don't know, I really quite like it.
Oh. And if you like squirrels, Centennial Park is the place for you. I don't know if you can see, but behind me there is I counted at least 17 squirrels. It's like a squirrel party. They are everywhere. And we don't have squirrels at home, so whenever we see a squirrel, I say stop and I take a picture like a real tourist.
Good morning guys, from our third and final day out here exploring Nashville. Today we've headed out of downtown Nashville and we've come to East Nashville, which is meant to be a bit more of a local hangout. It's meant to be really cool street art, a lot of really cool vintage stores, so we're gonna have a wander. We've kind of just jumped off the bus at a random spot and we're just gonna wander around and see what we come across, pop our head into a few vintage stores. We won't be able to afford anything, but it'll be really cool to have a look and see what they've got and just check out a different vibe to the city centre. Something else that is located in East Nashville, but a bit further east from where we are, is the Grand Ole Opry, which I'll talk a bit more about later in the video. Probably won't be getting there just because it is a bit too far out for us without a car, but if you do have a car, it's definitely a must-do in Nashville. We've now wandered over to the Fatherland District, which is known for having a lot of cool like crafty type niche gift stores, so we're having a wander down. Definitely nothing we can afford, but some of the stuff is so beautiful and a perfect place to pick up something from here in Nashville.
Alright guys, we're back in downtown Nashville now, and walking around I noticed something that I haven't seen anywhere online when researching Nashville, but I did see it on a postcard. It's the AT&T building, but the postcard called it the Batman building, and I think it's pretty obvious why.
I get it.
Now earlier in the video you might remember I said this about pedestrian crossings here in Nashville. When you're at a pedestrian crossing and then it goes green for you to cross, it makes a bird noise. I did a bit of research and it turns out that the cuckoo noise is for when you're going in north-south direction, and then the chirping bird noise is for when you're going east-west direction. What? Now I said earlier in the video there are two main types of foods that you have to eat when you're in Nashville. First one being anything from a diner, second one fried chicken. Today is the day we eat fried chicken from Nashville, and we've come to Hattie B's. It's one of the most popular places here in Nashville to get ourselves some southern fried chicken. You know that this place is popular and the real deal when they sell their own merchandise.
Guys, I could get used to this Nashville life, like fried chicken, Goo Goo Clusters. Sounds pretty good to me.
Oh my god, put Hattie B's at the top of your Nashville must-do list. It's so yum.
That was an amazing lunch at Hattie B's, highly recommend. I know hot chicken is all the rage here in Nashville, but can we give a shout out to the fries? Hattie B's had some incredible fries, and the other day at Sun Diner, those chips were so good as well. Like, Nashville are really hitting the nail on the head with the chips as well, or fries if you're from America. But amazing lunch, definitely gotta have some fried chicken here in Nashville. But they do not joke around here with the spice. We got mild, which was the second bottom spice level.
Give me one please.
One, that's not mild. The bottom of like actual spice, I think there were about 4 or 5 levels above that, and I found it a bit spicy, so they do not mess around here with spice.
Also, for those of you interested in our accommodation, we're staying in a little unit type place called WeHo House, about a 10-minute bus ride from Broadway. We'll put a link to it in the description below if you want to check it out.
So behind me, just around the corner from Hattie B's, is the Ryman Auditorium, which is very famous here in Nashville. It's hosted many famous people doing concerts here on stage, but one of the reasons it is super famous is that it used to be home to the Grand Ole Opry, which is the longest continually run radio program in the nation's history. It used to be broadcast from here at the Ryman Auditorium, but in the 1970s they decided it needed its own venue. So as I mentioned briefly earlier, that is over in East Nashville. It has its own massive auditorium where it is still doing shows today. I believe there was one actually last night. And that is something that people say is a must-do here in Nashville. You can do backstage tours, go through all the different dressing rooms, which I think are kind of themed all differently. You can walk up as the stars would walk up to the stage. We don't have the money for it, but definitely on my list for next time we're in Nashville. And similarly here at the Ryman Auditorium, you can go in and do tours of the auditorium as well, and maybe if you're lucky, catch a concert or two. We're back on Broadway, more specifically the Honky Tonk Highway, and we've of course got to go in and see some live music. So we've come to the stage on Broadway and we're going to check out some of the bands.
Honky Tonk Highway is our last stop on our Taylor Swift tour, and its relevance on this tour is because Taylor, before she became really big, I believe she played in some places on the Honky Tonk Highway. So how cool is that? She's not the only one, of course, and that's not the only reason why it's famous. In my eyes it is, but there are other reasons. This is obviously where you hear and see a lot of live music. A lot of celebrities own restaurants around here too, and as always in Nashville there are plenty of places where you can buy some cowboy boots.
And that's it for our time in Nashville. We had an incredible time and we hope you enjoyed the video, but we're already in our next state. Make sure you stay tuned for our final few videos here in the US to see what we get up to. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.